So I'll just do a little intro of myself, okay, and how I got here and why we are doing this and why I've chosen to do this. Please confirm if you can see my screen. I think I know you can. So good. I'll zoom this. I'll show what I'm sharing myself. Good. Thank you very much. Just give me your reactions, your thumbs ups, and all. If you can see my screen, anytime I ask maybe for a feedback from you, just to be sure that I'm not speaking to myself alone. All right. So, my personal story and the journey from um how the whole thing began. Uh, just like so many of us in the room, I didn't actually plan to come to the UK. I wasn't ready to. I thought I was doing well, fairly well, because I believe that anyone who has been able to move themselves, that means your family, your daughter, your son, your, kids and all to the country, even if you came on your own, you probably have some money in your account. I mean, you were all millionaires before you move into the UK because you need cost you a lot of money. So we thought we were doing well. I mean, for me, I thought I was doing fairly well. So I didn't plan to come. Okay. And so if you can see on my screen, I'm Victor Adekunle, currently the head of analytics, and we are here currently a data engineer in CreditSafe, a two times founder, founded Vividex, which is basically on consulting, and then currently the director for London Center for Analytics. And you can see it just right behind me. And the focus is to help individuals who are struggling to get into analytics, to help them from being a total novice to securing a role in the industry. And that cut across training them even with the tools necessary in the industry currently that are being in use or being used in the industry. And then building their CV, also preparing them to be confident when it comes to interviewing, up to negotiation, and even scaling in their roles. All right. So that is for us end to end. So back to the background story I was sharing initially that I didn't plan to come, but I made a promise to my wife before we got married that I won't obstruct her growth. That is, wherever she wants to go to study, I would support her. I studied in Nigeria, did my PhD in Nigeria, and although I didn't finish before I left, I had to complete it while I got to the UK. So I already saw it and I felt like, okay, I would love her to experience it somewhere else. So I was ready, but not ready to move at the time we left. And it wasn't even UK. But so now we found ourselves here. And a lot of things happened even before we left. That was a sign for me to leave. If I tell you this, it's not something I share commonly. I was touring different police cells. Were to move on a Monday, on a Wednesday. I was picked up on a Monday. Nigeria happened to many of us. It happened to me. And I didn't leave the police cell until Thursday, which was just after the day, a day after the day we were supposed to leave. So we couldn't travel in January. That was in year 2022. We had to leave, I think 2 weeks or a week after. That was all God needed to do because I wasn't ready to leave. But my wife saw that ahead and she said she saw something, but we couldn't understand. I was the victim. I was the suspect, but I became the person investigating. You know what we call middleman scam? Somebody sent money to your account from an unknown account, and just because of transactions, and then you are the one who is at the receiving end, and they are tracing the transaction to you, and that was it. But then I became a victor at the end, which is my name, and then I was vindicated. I even helped them to resolve to investigate the case and decipher some things. But that was it. So coming into the UK, it is lost a lot of money in that, trying to do a lot, and everything started all over again. It was COVID, COVID, yeah, that was 2022. So we're still on it. 10 days on in isolation. I had nothing. I was just looking at myself and my daughter, were with my brother. So really, I was just, let me say, jobless and looking at my screen, the TV. What is going to happen to my life? My PhD is 6 years already. Am I starting all over? Am I ending it? So I left everything in Nigeria just to start all over somewhere else that we don't know. And it to be very cold. So when I said I almost got depressed, I think I was, but I wouldn't want to spell that to myself every time I say this. But I remember I couldn't really think straight. My wife was busy with settling her schooling, and that was it. So we moved to Swansea, this is where we are now, currently in Wales. And it took me 4 months, almost, yeah, 3 months before I decided I'm going to work. So just like so many people, I wasn't ready to do anything. I was just like, okay, whatever it is. I was still doing some things online so I could make one or two. But I saw that it's not going to work. So that was how the whole thing shifted. And the first job I took was to become a support worker, homeless guys, how it works. So leaving the PhD behind, I wasn't even thinking about it as at that time. Sixth year already, because you know how it is. Strike would add to it. COVID-19 to 2020, 2021, added his own 2 years to it. So I had 3 years of extension on my PhD. And then, so we started all over again. So it seems all those things gone, to waste. And so I started from boot camps. I asked myself a question, what is working here? And started investigating. Seems real estate and then tech. That was what I saw. Okay. So I decided to go on to what I've loved to do before, which is data analytics. So I started with all these boot camps. So I was doing that, juggling babysitting, working night shift and then sitting with the baby during the day. So you couldn't sleep. It changed my sleep pattern up till today. I struggle to sleep at night. Anyway, then when you started applying for jobs, even after 6 months of back-to-back training, and then you get a rejection email, I can show you, give you an example. If you can see my screen, I believe you can still see. Let me see what I'm sharing again, just to be sure. Yeah, good. This is an example of back-to-back rejections I was receiving. So on top of all those things that is happening to you, you finding yourself in a place you don't want to be, you started getting rejection emails here and there, and it felt like everything I was doing wasn't working. But it took a whole year before I landed my first role. In fact, I I was almost asked to leave where I was working then. I was in May because our visa is going to expire. I think we applied 5 days to the end of the expiration of our school visa. Then that was the study visa to switch into post-study work visa. I couldn't force my wife definitely to go and start, care, but she did it, and I used to be the one rubbing her back every night. So she was the one who wanted to study. It wasn't Japa for us, actually, it was really career growth. So I couldn't force her. So anyway, we decided that we are not going to go that route. We just focused on getting into our career line. Fortunately for her, she got an admin role early in public health waste. And then what happened about a month after that period, or even before the expiration of our visa, I landed my first tech role as a data science analyst. That was the name of the role. But before that time, like I said, for a whole year, I've been upskilling 6 months consecutive back to back. So what changed? You can see recruiters are now reaching out to me on LinkedIn, and everything went on like that. And the whole story changed just from being an homeless support worker, from depression down to, securing roles and then being called upon. Now, and that's what I'm bringing. And recently, like I said, we built two companies already on that, one for training, the other for consulting. And I was spotlighted recently. Even up to today, I was still mentioned as one of the top 200 data scientists, curators in the UK. I'm not a content creator, but because I feature online frequently, somehow the data pulled my name out of it. I was even featured in a book, Nigerian Role Models. All these things happened within the space of how many years? Not up to 4 years already. Now, why I'm saying all this is for anyone who feels like it is too late for them to start, or they don't belong. I was never in tech before I came into the UK. I wasn't in tech. I was in research, actually. So analysis was my thing. But I didn't even realize it until years later that, okay, I think I've been doing this much longer. The only thing is that I wasn't in tech. I was doing it in an academic environment because it was research. So, seeing all those things happening and now building solutions, started small. Then we started applying the skills. Then we were going deeper and then grew bigger, leveraging communities like this, building networks of friends, and then helping other people. And that is what brought this here. We have different stories of successes to talk about. People who also had similar experience, and then they are now speaking. Look at him now. He was initially searching for jobs. Now this was Essential Office in Leeds. And things like that. So I'm just encouraging you to focus and put your mind is they say guide your heart with all diligence is the Bible passage I love to read, because out of it flows the affairs of life, and through it the rivers that guides the course of your life, you understand, is flowing, meaning that your mind is actually a powerful place that determines so many things that happens. If you believe it will work, it will work. If you think that it doesn't work, it won't work. You understand my point here? It's not easy, but start learning, start with courage, start to think of failing forward and trying it. Never count yourself out. And just to give you an example, like I said, this is a success story. This is one of the pages of the companies I manage now, London Center for Analytics. I can see different people sharing their experiences, both young and what I mean. I won't say old, but of age, and different things like that. Now, let me take it away from that. So the whole thing I'll be sharing is around this particular framework, which is the system that we use to help professionals at LCFA. It is understanding the foundation. When you say to build a CV that is very, let me say, optimized that will stand out to any recruiter, you need to firstly understand the market. And so for anyone who is here, regardless of whatever domain you want to go into, it is important that you learn the foundational skills or you have it so that your CV will stand out. You know, I say this like with example most of the time. If you're going into a room or let me say a party and there is a particular costume, without you being in that costume, they won't allow you to go in. You know how it is. Oh, if you are if perhaps you need to get that on before you can even be allowed into your room. But many of us we do this every time. We just attend that party. We try to force ourselves in without being without the costume. And what you see is that the door is closed against you. And that's what happens in the job market. We are usually trying to apply for jobs without really understanding what the market is asking for. How do you know if you're upskilling rightly, if what you have in your CV is actually the right thing? I know many of us have been trying to use AI to now tweak CVs now, but it's a lot stressful when you are doing it for every job. And 10 minutes later, 12, 40 minutes later, they're already sending you the rejection email. I call it love letters. So to avoid all that, you need to understand the market even before you start building your CV. And so I call this market research. I'll give you a quick example. We go on LinkedIn and thank God for okay, where the network, it's not bad, it's good. And this is one of the job boards I use most of the time. Maybe as a data professional, currently a data engineer, but let's say you're looking for a data analyst role. I've shared this so many times in videos and I talk about it a lot. I think what you should really do is just to go over jobs on LinkedIn. See firstly what they pay them, but that's not as important as you knowing what they are asking for. Select, let's say, entry level role and the associate role, for example, so that you can actually be closer, in case you are just starting out or you don't want something, taxing from the get go. So we're looking at focusing, I'll focus directly or focus majorly on data analyst role. So I'm skipping anything that has to do with, so though they are all the same. I'm just giving an example because this is my domain. You can apply it to any domain. I was trained for this. Mind you, I paid $3,000 to learn how to interview and build CV after a whole year of struggling, and I got my job within a month after. I didn't pay that $3,000 at once. So in case you have been paying for tutorials and it costing you, please keep going, but be wise with it. I was paying £250 every month on my Amex. So I was owing before I started my first job. So it was a journey. So I was trained for this and it changed the whole thing. That was what even started what I'm doing right now as a business rather than apart from working full time as a data engineer. So what you quickly do and you should do every time before when you want to build a CV that makes sense is to understand the job market, the job description that is commonly appearing, and the requirement in the job advert. That is, what are the tools and the skills they are asking for every time or every now and then. Okay, so if I go over this from the beginning, I've clicked this one, data analyst. So if you quickly look at this, we are looking for, they're already telling you what they are looking for. Every time you will find this on LinkedIn, exceptional skills in Excel, financial modeling, this, blah, blah. When you go over these things, you are meant to copy them or extract them in your best way, put them in an Excel sheet just to be able to familiarize yourself with what the market is asking for. These are the things you will load back into your CV before so that it will make sense. Even if you're going to tweak your CV already, I mean, later, you would have covered almost, let me say, 60 to 70% of the requirements before you go in. And in case you notice a skill gap, you'll be able to build with intention. Do you understand me? Because the first thing is if you understand the market, you know your skill, you know where you are. Then you know what is missing. Then you can go for that skill. So if anyone is selling tutorial to you, either paid or free, you will know if you are learning the right thing. For example, there is a clear disparity between what we learn in school and what we are doing in the industry. In school is an outdated syllabus most of the time. They use that, and I can't blame them. I'm also an academic too, so I understand it takes time to even come up with a syllabus. They are not also working in the industry. Most of them are not. You understand? Many of them don't work in the industry, right? So they don't know what is going on as much. So most time you find yourself being taught tools that are not useful again for many people who studied here. So don't allow the certificate, the CV, go into the market itself. LinkedIn, Glassdoor, Indeed, CV library, job boards to know what the market is always asking for. A lady met me in January and then she reached out recently, about 2 months ago, almost crying that there's no more time again. I said, what happened? We had a conversation earlier and I gave you a direction. She went against it. She saw what the market is asking for, but she decided to imagine what the market is not asking for, and she was busy chasing that thing until she was tired and she saw that she was not going to achieve that. Then I called, and when she came back, I said, let's go back to the market. Do you know she started again? 2 days later, she got her first interview. And she was like, so I've been the one delaying myself all this while, thinking that the market is asking for certificate, portfolio, and all those things. Meanwhile, the market is saying, no, this is what I need. So you can do that for so many jobs. Go one after the other. Now, there is a simpler way, I wouldn't say, but I think it's better that you go through this channel to familiarize yourself with what the market is asking for at first. I'll give you another example. What you will be doing is one thing you should know, so that you will know if you're already doing it. That's what will make you a perfect fit for the role. That's what will make you a great match. Have you been doing what they're asking you to come and do? That's even a sign that you are the right fit. Or do you have what we need? And they listed it here: 1 to 3 years of experience in analytics. Okay. Internship counts. They even specify that we are ready to take you in 1 to 3 years. Now, there's a way you interpret this in that sometimes you would shut yourself out. Meanwhile, it's not really that difficult. It's not that hard. Strong SQL skills, analytic curiosity, and blah, blah, blah. They listed everything. Then I said, nice to have. Meaning it's not compulsory, but if you have it, it will give you a better chance. See, by the time you go through 30 to 50 jobs, you will even by yourself know that, okay, this is what the market is asking for. So I plead with you, whatever you're doing, even if you're aware of what the market, don't listen to somebody telling you this is what they're asking for. You understand me? Let's start with the market first, back into our CV. The other short ways you can use is actually to go through this method, which I do most of the time. You see, I'll send this prompt at the end of it. I just did it before the call just to make it faster because I use deep research. You can get this on a free version. This is ChatGPT. Part of it is for us to use AI to be able to build a CV that will stand out. And trust me, we are going deeper as we go on. Now, I've shown you the first way, which is the method I used before, just going over LinkedIn, checking 30 jobs specifically in your role, selecting the what's it called, the level, experience level. I hope this is recorded, or maybe not. If it is, you could have gone back to it, but please just take note. Now you can do the same thing. We'll look at what I wrote as a prompt. Kindly pull through the job boards. I gave an example: LinkedIn, Glassdoor, CV Library, Indeed in the UK. I want to understand the common requirements in the job adverts, as well as the job description, the current trending domains for data analysts in the UK, specifically in the UK, because it varies. We have little variations across different countries. What are the top 5 technical skills, top 5 business skills / domain knowledge required, top 5 soft skills needed for a data analyst based on the job advert in the last 3 months? You can extend it to the last 6 months. But I'm building what we call a market-driven CV. What I mean is it shifts, it changes. You understand? There's a shift in the market every three months. You should expect that the requirements are different. And with AI, things are moving very fast in our own domain. Then it came back to say, are you focused on entry level data analyst role, mid level, or senior level? Can you see the guy is intelligent? That was what I selected on LinkedIn. If you remember, I had to select the experience level, right? So I just said, okay, don't just go ahead and give me entry level and mid, because he didn't give me the associate one, which is the middle one. Would you like this analysis across industries or there are specific sectors? So if you have specific sectors you are looking at, it doesn't matter the job, like I said. Select the sector. Is it within the health sector? Because I will come to that later, that your background also gives you a better chance. Most of the time, you will be attractive to the people within your industry, the industry you have built your foundation. In case you are just starting and you are trying to switch, I think it's better you switch to something close to your background so that you can leverage your initial background to be able to switch faster. People try to do this. I will say this now because I may forget. If you're searching for a job, it's not easy, but try to focus on one. I know people build like 3 or 4 CVs to try to search for anyone that comes. I know anyone that comes has worked for many people, but it doesn't work for a lot of people. I mean, it has worked for some people, or let me say few people, I believe. Staying focused has its own impact. Number one, it helps your brain to be sharp, understanding that domain, being aware, so that if they wake you up in the middle of the night, recruiters can call you anytime and you can defend yourself. But if you are building 4 profiles at the same time, you think this is because you have 15 years of experience, this. It's changing. I think you should focus. That's my own first guide. So choose one and choose a domain if possible. That would even help you. It has, should you be remote, UK based? And I gave the answers. And then so it went over. It did the research. Now, please look at this. I use deep research. It's something you can come to the plus and select. For me, because I use a paid version of ChatGPT, I have about 18. For you, you might have like five if you're not using paid version. So, which is still okay for you to be able to get this out. I did this with somebody recently. Downloaded a CV on LinkedIn. You can download someone's profile. Through to ChatGPT, she asked me that, Dr. Victor, once I'm done with my current job as a, she's being sponsored, I don't know. She said, I don't know what role I should be gunning for. These are my skills and my experiences. And I said, okay, no, wala. I wanted to say she should send me a CV, but I went to her LinkedIn. It's already loaded. Threw it on ChatGPT. Based on this profile, can you tell me what role this person is most fit? What industry? How much are they paying? Several things. ChatGPT brought out a lot of things that made sense. I asked further question and then I shared the chat with her and that she could continue the conversation and asked for how she should optimize and build her CV and her profile. She did, and she came back recently to tell me that about two different, I think Facebook or Meta, YouTube even reached out to her, asking her to come and be media and communication lead or something like that. That she's not currently looking. She had to share it with me on LinkedIn. I can go over the chat. Just by using AI to check yourself out. So the guy will examine you like a doctor, telling you what role you fit into based on your current skills. So in case you're about to start, this might be your starting point. So good. The guy went over. It took about 5 minutes before we started, and then started pulling stuff. Common requirement for UK data analyst jobs, entry to mid. Then he went over to say in the last 3 months, finance and banking. They're telling you their domains, right? Trending domains, marketing and e-commerce. That's very true. Healthcare and public sector, manufacturing and others. Top five skills, you can see listed it. SQL, Python, Microsoft Excel, Power BI, data analysis and BI, business intelligence platform. It listed it. It's my domain, so I understand some of these requirements. Top five business skills or domain knowledge. Having marketing knowledge. If you're a customer insight analyst, or sorry, a customer care representative here, that might be a path you want to go into because you understood the customer, their conversations, their pains and problems, and challenges. You can transfer that skills, add one or two analytic skills, and then you are there. It's not that easy, but I'm saying that it could be easier if you follow that approach. If you are from finance background, they're telling you that they need the knowledge or your domain knowledge as a finance person, project management, requirement gathering, stakeholder management, and then the soft skills because they are very important. You see, this thing is very, very accurate. I've been doing this for like 3, 4 years now. So I can tell you it's been like this, especially the top skills. Communication skill, which is needed in any domain anyway, analytical thinking and problem solving, attention to details, collaboration, and teamwork, which is one of the reasons why you need to engage in communities like this. This is sometimes the opportunity for you to build teamwork. Things you can use when you are speaking at interviews, when they actually tell me of when you did this with a team, when you gave an idea. The idea of building this particular program is enough of something you can actually talk about at an interview. But sometimes we ignore other things. I started by volunteering. That not having UK experience held me down for a very long time as well. I was struggling because definitely I would never even worked anywhere in Nigeria. To be honest, I was self-employed and I was into research. That was all I was doing. So imagine not having any corporate experience and switching into tech in the UK from a support worker background. It showed that it is possible, but it took a lot anyway, and we're going to go over that. Now, adaptability and continuous learning, very, very key. So the market has even already solved it. You gave you even references. That is where he pulled all those things out. And this is all you need. So if your CV has this already, you have solved half of the problem, or let me say 60% of the problem. Now, if you now want to apply to jobs, now let's now give you an example. So there's this particular role, which is the next thing. With this, let me go back here quickly. With this now, you can tell your skill gap. What do I lack? And what do I have that I already think is not useful, but the market is telling me is useful? For example, I've been doing an analysis before. I was a trader, right? I was trading cryptocurrency market, blockchain technology, and all. And I've been analyzing market trends for a long time. But what I didn't know is that that skill is useful. Number one, two, because we don't use the same tools, but this is the same concept and it's still the same goal. You want to analyze it to gain insight, grab some information that could guide your next step. But I didn't know. For 6 years too, I was analyzing spread of diseases. I started my research in 2014 when Ebola came to Nigeria. So it has been analyzing spread, HIV, different stuff, cholera, several publications. I didn't know that it was, I was already in analytics. Like I said, the only thing is I was using different tools, MATLAB and all those things. Meanwhile, in the UK, they were using different tools. But understanding the market helped me to know what do I have already that the market needs. So you hold it. You are not starting from zero. You have something you brought for whatever, wherever you are coming from. There's something that the market is already needing that you have. The only thing you need to go and add is what you are lacking, which is why the knowledge of the market is key, right? Knowing so that you don't just go out learning what you don't know that you have already. That doesn't mean you can't upskill and increase yourself. So good. Now I understand the skill gap. I know what I lack. Let me be honest with you. Before I got into the UK, I don't code in Python. So in case you are here and you're like, that programming, that's the problem. I wasn't coding in Python. I wasn't using this tool before. I never used the tool. I started learning one day at a time, and that is it. So I'm just giving examples anyway. So once you know what you lack, then you know how to build. You know what you are going for, not just any tutorial. Because currently we have information overload, where there are a lot of materials, a lot of content creators, a lot of tutors. I mean, myself included, everybody in the market selling something or trying to tell you A and B. You could be very confused. So you need a mentor and a guide. This could be your first guide, understanding the market. Good. So now we have a job description or we have a job advert and we want to build CV for it. Some are very, very straightforward. Some are not. So what do I do with AI to be able to help myself? Let's say give for example, this is one role that I think I will be a good fit for. So all you need to do is to copy the job description. Now, before I copy the job description, because I have steps that I use, and I'll bring this up quickly when it comes to now standing out. You have your CV now, or let me say you have built your skill and you think you're ready. You want to start applying for jobs. You went to the job market and you saw jobs, these openings. The next thing is for you to throw your CV at it and you see if they will call you. There are a lot of things you need to understand, even on the LinkedIn market, especially with easy apply and all these things. Because I've set advert before, employ people on LinkedIn, so I know how the market is. Now, I need to say something that is not common. You might have not heard it before, but I think I talk about it frequently. If why they will call you for an interview is because after you have submitted your CV or they found your profile, is because they saw something in your CV that matches what they are looking for. Or they saw that you have solved a problem that looks like the kind of problems you would be dealing with. They saw your CV, they loved it because there was a problem and they needed somebody to fill the role. If there's no match, they won't call you into the room. It's like dating. You went for a blind date or even a date for the first time. There was something you saw that made you even say, let's meet. Maybe the picture, the qualities, the profile, the name, and all other things, the school the person attended, the degree, the course, and all. You saw something you like. If you have a specification already and the person doesn't match the specification, will you call the person? No. So you're like, I think this is the kind of lady I would want to spend the rest of my life with. Let's meet first and let's talk about it. That is what they would do. That's an interview, right? At the interview stage, they are calling you to come and hear you speak because you can see beautiful pictures and all sort of things. And it's like, okay, let's see what the person will say, even if the person can talk well or not, you know. So why would they call you? It's because there's a match. So the question is, how will you make yourself the best fit? Or let me say you have the highest match. This is not about ATS, our application tracking system. You've heard that several times. It is useful, it is happening, but there's no one size fit all. The first is that you understand the job description itself. Once you do, then you have to coin your CV to be able to show that part that matches. Now, you can copy this thing right now. Let's just do a quick one. Are you a whiz? Okay. In case you have questions, just I think there should be a Q&A box. You can start dropping them. So we are copying this thing and we're taking it to ChatGPT. Okay, so I saw I'll just type this. I saw a job advert and I am trying to I want to just say I want to build a CV to match the advert or yeah to match the advert before I submit the let me just say below is the job advert or something like that. The information I'm dropping is not full, which is where I'll get there. So I just, this is job advert and I drop it there. ChatGPT will tell you all sorts of things. Okay, so he's still trying to use the deep research. For now, I will remove it because I don't want it. I don't want it to go deeper. You say, could you please share the following so that I could help you tailor your CV? A brief outline of your current and most recent title. You see, ChatGPT knows, or even this particular guy knows that he needs the knowledge of your CV. He needs the financial modeling skill or Excel based on the job description it has read. He's asking for things that are key so that he will be able to build a CV for you. Now, the mistake most of us make most of the time is that we just throw our normal CV. There is a tendency the guy will try to pull something all together from the internet and just to make sure that you match. It's really, they will call you for an interview. The challenge with that is if the guy brought in things, ChatGPT hallucinates, that is, he bring it sometimes just add stuff that you didn't do just to match the CV. And you didn't read it or you read it, you're like, oh, I pray they will not ask. Never try that. If you're going for an interview, if there's anything you have on your CV that you can't defend, please remove it or change it. Or go and read and prepare for it. Like before they call you for an interview. Once they have called you and they say you're having an interview next week, Monday, go and start studying that CV to understand everything, which is the danger of having 10 billion CVs. Tweaking CV here and there and not keeping track of the CV you submitted. Because when they call you for an interview, firstly, you are now a best fit. We're getting there. They will bring your CV side by side with the job description and start to ask you questions. Tell me of when you have read your CV. You did A and B to be able to achieve so. They want to know if your answer will match the kind of response they are looking for. If it is, they are writing down, they are ticking it. If you match and you are one of the top, they'll call you for the next stage. And if you come out the best, then you have the job. If other things, culture fit and every other thing, and there's a way you prepare to actually come out the best. But then it starts from even your CV and the knowledge of the job. So don't throw generic CVs. That is the general CV you have. There's something I call elaborate CV, and I'll give you an example. So quickly, I'm going to pull my CV. I wasn't going to use my CV before. I thought I would get one, but I've not asked for permission for the CVs I have. So for my on my screen, you can see my CV. I don't like this format because it will be too small. So I'll just zoom it. Yeah, good. So let's say this is my CV. I've edited it several times, not because I'm applying for jobs, but every time I see a new way of building a CV that is attractive, I just start changing it. So this is an example of my CV. So in my current role, which is outside my main role, these are the things I do, and you can see they're just two lines per bullet point. Usually, this is the kind of CV many want to throw because ChatGPT is already asking for the CV. And this is a summarized CV. If you think about it, there were a lot of things that ChatGPT has already permitted just to make it look this good or something like that. So if you throw this, think about this. Initially, it has lost the context of your skills. The guy already did an approximation, or let me say an adjustment. So you are submitting an adjusted CV for more adjustment. Do you get, if you understand what I'm trying to say? Something has been lost in the process. Now, what will I suggest you send to it? I call it an elaborate version of your CV, and I will drag that to my page. Now you've seen the version of my CV. This is another version that I use always, which I think is what is a game changer for me. This is what has been making us get results. This month we have 4 jobs already. The month of November. This is the game changer. The same CV, but you can see the bullet points. The points are more. The other time, if you look at this, wasn't the first row anyway. But if you go over my CV again, this bullet point was actually 2. I'm looking at it here. It was just two the bullet points. But now you can see I broke it down. It's now 5 lines. I'm not submitting the CV for job applications. I am using this CV to build other CVs, to build supporting information, to build cover letter. If I call it elaborate CV, if you can hear me, it's a CV I built to explain what I have done before as if I'm explaining to the recruiter at an interview, because that's actually what they are calling you to come and do at the interview. So I wrote in my CV, let me quickly drag it here. It might be fast. If you see my CV here, I said developed and refined data models. It's just 2 lines. But I broke down that 2 lines to start from what I was doing in the role. Developed and maintain scalable this. There are several entities. Why did I do this? So I'm using the STAR method in a way to explain what I did in that very, very bullet point. So you are breaking it down as if you are talking to somebody. You said you did this. Explain how, explain why, explain when, or even what you're trying to do and the result you achieved with each of the bullet points. So what you realize is that the bullet point that was maybe 2 pages before, usually it will just become like 8 pages or so. You see, you can see this is not a normal CV I will submit, right? So this would be just 2 bullet points before, but I'm trying to explain what I did. I say function as the analytically coordinating the team to perform end-to-end analysis from collection to transformation because I'm speaking as if I am explaining. Even if you can take your time to build a CV like this, they call it the elaborate version. Maybe it's now out there by virtue of mentioning it here. Sometimes this exercise will help you firstly to be able to know if you can defend everything on your CV. Because most of the time we find people at interviews and they are stuck because they can't even explain what they have written on yours. Is your experience. How come you can't explain it? So you shouldn't be scared. So spend time explaining what you have on your CV that already, that CV that you have used the knowledge of the market to build at first. Break it down properly as you're gaining more experience and knowledge and skills, just keep adding into your CV. Once you do that, you have the confidence that anything they ask me, I can defend it. That's why I say anything that you can't explain, remove it or go and learn it before you even start building CVs. Now, do you know that so many times you have been doing that thing for years or even months, but nobody has ever asked you once, what were you doing? And it feels normal because you don't need to explain it to anybody out there, but you find out that it happens that you just go for an interview and you blank out. You can't even remember what you do daily. And you be like, I still did this thing yesterday. There's a name of one device that we use. You can't even remember again. This particular exercise will help you bring back that thing into your mind as quickly as possible before the interview. So I encourage you to build an elaborate CV. So this is the next thing I'm going to throw at ChatGPT. I will just say, because it's asking for my CV, all I need to do is just to throw my elaborate version of CV to ChatGPT. I can copy everything. I think preferably I'll just do. You can just upload it or copy elaborate CV. Good. Control A, Control C. I'll just paste it here. Now the guy has a knowledge of my CV. Okay. And then he's going to build something nice for me. Now, there are two things you need to know. You see now that even though before my CV was about 4, 5 lines per bullet point. Now the guy has reduced it to 2 bullet points. That was what I was saying, that the format of the CV you usually have is the summarized version. Now, if you notice something again, he changed the name of my role. He said it is, I'm a data engineer at Credit Safe. You can see this, data engineer at Credit Safe UK. Now the guy said, I am a finance focused data engineer. He's trying to trick it to be the same as or to be close to what they're asking for. It's useful at the same time dangerous. If I'm going to ask for reference for this role and now announce and I send finance focus, my HR person can come back for me and say, I'm sorry, this is not the name of the role. It might take an extra explanation, but in a place where it doesn't matter, you can leave it like that. The point is roles are determined, they just give it name. Sometimes you are doing one thing and the name for the role is even not capturing all the things you're doing. So be careful when AI is building CVs for you. But now this is it. It has tailored the CV to look like what that, but it did it with context of my main CV. You can even make it better by uploading a formatted one and say that, can you format the above with respect to this particular format? So in case you have a particular format, I submitted submitted a CV that is not the actual one, the elaborate version. So he built that one based on the elaborate version, but I have a format that I love to use. So I can submit that format and say, can you just build the above CV using the format I just uploaded? And boom, all this thing will not take 10 minutes, but you would get a better result because in fact, you can even give an extra warning. Please don't go outside what I have on my CV. Don't add anything that I didn't do. But whatever it is that you think matches, explain it in a way that will match, such a way that it will still preserve the experience and help you to be able to defend it when they ask you. You get my point. The goal is not just to match it. The goal is that what's the point in getting an interview and you can't defend what is there? So you are making sure you are fixing all that part. Once you do, Trust me, you are copying that this note and putting it back into a Microsoft Word document, fine tuning everything, and you're submitting. Now, there are other things that will make you stand out, not only your CV. Um, so I have a time of the day that, I mean, I won't say time of the day. There is a way you take advantage of job application, especially LinkedIn is my own base because I got all my jobs from LinkedIn. Okay. So it's a place I use, but other people have used other platforms, but you can combine all of them if you know how to manage your time. Firstly, your LinkedIn profile, it should be something very close to your CV. These days, because of the fact that they know that we use AI to build CVs, not in health anyway, in NHS, they might not bother because even them, you don't find them on LinkedIn often. But when you are going for corporate roles, that was why specifically under me, I was talking about corporate roles, but this is applicable. I've helped people within the NHS as well. And this same method, in the NHS now, if you want to write a supporting information for a role, you copy all we call the is it person specification, right? And then you bring it back. This same elaborate CV is what you can use to build it. It's even better than just throwing your summarized CV. So you copy the person specification, throw it at ChatGPT. It has all the information of the company already. And it says, this is the organization, this is what they do, this is the role I'm applying for, this is the person specification. You are training them here one after the other. ChatGPT has full knowledge of it. Then I say, can you help me build a supporting information using the knowledge of my elaborate CV? Making sure that it matches each of the requirements. So you are building them paragraph by paragraph, ensuring that if sometimes some people suggest that you even allow your supporting information to have headings. The reason is so that the person checking, they mark this thing, they have points. He knows what you are explaining in each of the paragraphs. Okay, knowledge of this, experience of this, you have explained it. Now, using elaborate CV makes it even better because it's not hallucinating or trying to just cook up anything. Is doing that based on the full knowledge, I mean, a better knowledge of your CV. I mean, a 4 pages or 2 pages CV to 8 page or 4 pages, there's a huge difference, right? It will really help. I mean, that's the way to use AI now. If you ask good questions, you will get good answers. The idea is that the quality of your question determines the quality of your answer. The same thing when you are using AI for anything. If you give a proper guide, give limits, give restrictions, it will work by it and it will give you something better. This also is also used for now imagine I've beat all those things now, submitted the application, and I was called for the interview. Once I'm called, usually on ChatGPT you can actually save this thing. Let me see. You can save the name, just rename this thing and say maybe what's the name of the job I was applying for. I'm trying to check the name of the company or data York, what's it called, recruitment. You can rename it. The reason is so that when they call you for an interview, you are not starting all over again. And then you are not confused. You can even come here to know the kind of CV you submitted. Because people have that dilemma. They call in for an interview and the recruiter is calling you. I want to have a conversation with you and say, which CV did I submit to? I've edited my CV 100 times. In fact, name the CV with that company, Victor Adekunle underscore data analyst underscore the name of the company. So I'm using the name of the company here and just say York, maybe data analyst, something like that, analyst role, or yeah, just put it there. So, and you can use search. So it's very easy for you to search for the chat and know what you are looking for. Now let's just say I've saved it. It is there. Now they've called you for an interview, which is the next thing. This is where you come back to come and prepare for the interview. Don't forget, ChatGPT already have an idea of the job description. You can even give it a better knowledge. And so I have some bullet points here. The last HMRC interview, HMRC released a lot of roles recently. About 5 people from the accelerator got the interview for a data analyst. So I built a normal prompt for them because they were like 5 years. So I didn't really need to repeat myself. This is for job interview prep now. I'm preparing for an interview for this particular role. Every time, slot in the name of the role. It is here. As a data analyst, whatever role you are going for, maybe as a customer care representative or as a project management within the NHS, name the name of the company and the department if you know. Whatever date, you don't necessarily have to put the day, but you can add that just to make sure that ChatGPT has full knowledge. I need you to pull all the information that could be useful for the preparation. See, when we are preparing for interviews, I know we have moved quickly, and I want you to apply these things. And I will wrap up this now, and they allow people to ask questions because it doesn't end there in getting the jobs and not being able to defend it. This would help you and it will change the game for you. You'll be at least 75 to 80% ready. All other things I will tell you later if people ask me questions on them. I need you to pull all the information that could be useful for the preparation. You're using ChatGPT for this. I need their business development goals, awards, partnership, innovation plans, vision, mission, and culture. I'll give you an example. You have a date and then you met the person on the first day. The person has never posted their color, the favorite food, the place they go for vacation. But people post a lot on internet. So based on the passion you have, the love the interest you have in the person, you spend time on their page to put together records. As you're on the table eating, dining, and all sort of things, you are just throwing all the thing. The person is just wondering, how did you discover all this information? Right there and there to show how intentional you are. And this is why they ask you to study the company very well when you are preparing for an interview. They want somebody who has a good culture fit, perfect match, right? And the last is that the skills matches a lot. And then the person that shows passion, who is very passionate about the job, right? So if you come in there unprepared, imagine an interview, a friend was saying he coordinated, and the lady was asking him, "What do you do?" And I'm like, I don't understand. Didn't you read the job description before you came into the room? But that's to show you how terrible people prepare for interviews. You need to understand the company, and this you can use this too. Before now, I will ask you to go over their pages on whatever platform they are, social media, even their web page. Go over their values, culture, and all those things. I think we all know that. Pull them, write them in a Word document. Sometimes I will say download the page. You can actually download as PDF a web page. It won't be complete, but it will give you an information. Put that in your Microsoft Word document. All this information and the things you are submitting back to ChatGPT, because the guy will be generating questions and he will be giving you answers based on your elaborate CV. Can you see that guy is always useful, the elaborate CV? So now you ask all this question, pull in your culture and everything. Don't forget there's deep research. If you use deep research, it will pull current information and history. It will give you enough information, both tailored to what you are asking for specifically. Once you have that, it has full information now. The next thing is I will now attach my job description, the job description, which you already remember you did it when you were trying to apply for the job, but you can bring it back again because the guy might be sleeping. The responsibilities, all other useful information from the job advert page. Maybe now the recruiter has started with you, you'll be doing this, blah, blah, blah. It gave you more information beyond what you saw at the first while you were applying. Then you loaded everything. I want you to generate 15 questions. Technical, behavioral, scenario based, anyhow you want to ask the question based on the information about the organization. Because think about it, they're asking you, they want to interview you for a role that you'll be doing within the organization. Their questions should be within what they are doing in relation to your role. That's one thing that will influence that kind of question because they want to ask you verbally, can you defend what you wrote in your CV? We want to hear you and see if this thing matches what we want. So they're asking you about their company. If you have enough information about them, you'll be able to understand them even before you go into the room to know the kind of questions they would ask you. Good. So that if you are giving scenario based answers, your answers has to be very strategic to answer the questions in their mind already. When I build people for preparing for interviews, and they tell me about your self story, which is usually 90 seconds, is what I prepare for. I tell them, say all these things. We prepare with ChatGPT. By the time they are done telling them about themselves, I've had this several times. The recruiter will be like, or the interviewer will say, you have even answered some of my questions while you were telling us about yourself. Because it's not you reciting your CV, it's you telling a story of your journey in a way that matches the job. But this is how you will know. So you are building all those things and you are saying that I would now supply. Now, I would then and you will answer them using the knowledge of my CV, that CV you submitted, then the elaborate CV you used to build the CV, and my personal statement, if there is any. For the HMRC one, they have personal statement there. So for NHS, you have supporting information. You don't submit CV, right? But you submit do application on the website. Throw all these things at ChatGPT. So I'll share this prompt, and then the guy will come, generate questions, not only generate them. You even say answer using STAR method of answering interview. Star, STAR, situation, task, action, and then result. Some will even add a hell at the end. Learning. What did you learn? I think NHS usually asks what you learn very well, or public sectors. So now you are putting that all of this information on ChatGPT, saying that generate questions, answer them, not just give me questions, and then you have to, now the answers it will give you will be tailored to what you have submitted as your CV or the elaborate CV, and even your supporting information. Because if you think about it, you submitted the supporting information, they marked it and they love what you wrote. It matches them. Please don't go and prepare something else that is different from what they saw already, because that's why they are bringing you into the room in the first place. So submit all that so that ChatGPT will have the full knowledge. Calling ChatGPT. You can use any other AI tool of what you're going for, so that when she is giving you answers to the questions he's generating for you, it is in line with the kind of answers you already have. Now, trust me, it won't be perfect. It is your duty to now take those answers and refine it in little ways to match how you would like to answer them. But one thing it will do for you is that it will help you think beyond what you think matches or doesn't match. It will generate questions and it will give you answers. The last part that people skip, just this one. The people interviewing you and their domain, their background, their experience usually influences the kind of questions they would ask you. If somebody has been in audit for years and is the head of audit, but you are joining as a data analyst there, questions you'll be asking you sometimes will relate to the role that he has been playing and what you are coming to do for them in the department. Having a knowledge of them would really help you to anticipate the kind of questions they would ask you. And so, what will you do? Pull their information from anywhere in the internet. You can use ChatGPT, preferably go to LinkedIn. There's a place where you can actually download their profile. So, if you go to LinkedIn, you can actually download people's profile there. Let me give you an example. This is Lela. So I just go and save. You see, you can save their profile and come and submit it to ChatGPT. Based on the prompt I have here, it says that I want you to generate questions based on their journey and experience, especially their current the role and department, which is the organization you are joining, that relates to the role I am interviewing for. You answer them using the knowledge of my CV. So how will ChatGPT know their profile? You say you are uploading it. You might not find them every time, but trust me, if you find them, another thing is that it will help you to know what is common to you. My first interview that I got full paid role in the UK, the Holy Spirit had me to put my guitar behind me. I have my guitar here always. I put it behind the window because I know that my manager has been playing guitar for I think about 15 or 20 years. That was the first 15 minutes into the interview. We're talking about guitars. That gave me calm. I was able to, cool down, and then we chatted. He liked me even before we started because there was a point. If you are a Man U fan, you wear the same, you attend the same, you do something common. It might be a plus.
What you
I've had
coach?
testimonies, and that is it. Thank you
I'm
very
sorry,
much.
coach. I want to
Yes,
join
yes.
a meeting.
Okay. I think I will stop here. And that is it. There are a lot of other things we could discuss. Like I said, we can still come back later in future. Thank you very much for your time. I hope this has been a good use of your time and not a waste of time for you.